Hello everyone and welcome to this ride battle video. In this series I will compare two similar flat rides or coasters with each other. I will only discuss rides that I have personally been on, so please keep in mind that these are my opinions from the experiences I had on the rides. Let's get started. Today we are comparing Anubis the Ride and Fury at Bobbejaanland. So first of all, here is some info on the rides we are going to compare. Anubis the Ride opened at Plopsaland De Panne in 2009. This coaster is made by Gerstlauer. It's a pretty rare coaster as it's one of the only two coasters from the launch coaster model from Gerstlauer. This coaster launches you to 90 km per hour or 55 miles per hour in just 2 seconds. It has 3 inversions and a height of 34 meters or 112 feet. Fury at Bobbejaanland opened 10 years later than Anubis in 2019 and is also made by Gerstlauer. This is an infinity coaster with a triple launch that speeds you up to 106 km per hour or 66 miles per hour, making it the fastest coaster in Belgium. It has a height of 43 meters or 140 feet. The amount of inversion is debatable. What makes Fury special is the fact that you can choose if you have a forwards or backwards ride. When the queue comes in the station, it splits in two. If you go to the left, I'm not sure, it has been a long time since I've been on it. So if you go to the left, you guarantee to have a forwards ride, or if you go to the right, you can vote with the buttons on the restraints if you go either backwards or forwards. So let's start comparing them. I will split this into 3 parts: ride experience, theming, and technical stuff. Let's start with the ride experience. On Anubis, when you exit the station, you take a right hand turn into the launch. On Fury, when you exit the station, you go on a turntable that sets you in the direction you chose for, so either forwards or backwards. Then you start with the triple launch. Anubis' launch is very powerful. It surprises me every single time I ride it, and believe me, I've been on it a lot. Plopsaland is my home park, I go there a lot, and almost every time I go there I take a ride on Anubis. But I have only been on Fury twice, one time forwards and one time backwards, and that was 3 days after its opening day, so it may not have been running on its full speed. In my opinion, Fury's launch was okay, but you can't really compare a triple launch to a normal launch. So of course I prefer the forceful normal Anubis launch rather than the less forceful triple launch, but it's really fun with the spike, gives some pretty fun hang time-ish thing. But it's pretty fun, but I prefer the force of Anubis' launch. And both Anubis and Fury have top hats after their launches. I prefer Anubis' one because you get some pretty good airtime on it. And on Fury I barely got any airtime, but the top hat from Fury is more free because you don't have the over the shoulders like Anubis has. Fury, you have some very comfortable lap bars, but I still prefer the airtime on Anubis' top hat. And then the rest of Anubis' layout is pretty good in my opinion. You go through a dive loop, a nimble man, and then there's a mid-course brake run that hits pretty hard, but I don't really mind it. And then you have a very good corkscrew that you go through very slowly, and after the corkscrew you hit the final brakes. Through the whole layout there's a noticeable rattle, but I don't mind it at all. I don't mind the rattle as long as you don't get head banging, so it's okay on Anubis. My favorite part is the corkscrew because you get some very good hang time. It's really good. I love the corkscrew. And then Fury, the rest of Fury's layout is pretty good too, but it's even better when you go backwards. If you only have the chance to ride Fury one time, I would recommend you to take a backwards ride, because backwards it's like every element surprises you. It's really thrilling and really fun. I love it. And just the rest of Fury's layout is good in general too. You have some very fun transitions, a corkscrew, a loop, and at the end something that's called a junior scorpion tail, When I rode it, it didn't go up there pretty high. It was like just to the house, so it didn't get any hang time. But as you can see in this POV, it went up there pretty high, and it seems like you can get some hang time. So I didn't get it, so I don't know. You go through all of these elements with some very comfortable lap bars, as I said before, and the track is pretty smooth. It has a very slight rattle, but I don't mind it at all because you barely notice it. And as an overall layout, I would say Fury is more enjoyable, but I prefer the intensity on Anubis's first part and the hang time in the corkscrew. I just love Anubis's corkscrew, and the launch too. The launch is way more intense than Fury's launch in my opinion. So as ride experience itself, on the coaster itself, I would say Anubis, but Fury is very enjoyable too. It's just not as thrilling as Anubis in my opinion. So let's go to the theming now. Both rides have some pretty good theming in my opinion. On Anubis, the station is themed very well to the House of Anubis, which was a Flemish TV series. Fury is part of a new themed area from 2019 called Land of Legends, where the rides are themed to the 4 elements: fire, water, wind and earth. Fury is linked to fire, the Huss giant frisbee next to it is linked to earth, the frisbee is called Sledgehammer. Typhoon, the other Kurzlauer in the park, is linked to wind, and a new water area is linked to water, of course. The overall theming on Fury is very well done in my opinion. The station is some kind of castle, and in the queue there's some pretty nice rock work, so I would say the theming of both rides is on same level. Theming doesn't affect much to me. I don't need it, but it doesn't have to be too much for me too. So I think both Anubis and Fury have perfect theming. It's really well done. I like it. And then some technical stuff. Let's start with the capacity. Anubis' trains fit 6 people in 3 rows. The seating is kind of staggered. This is one of the only 3 Kurzlauers that use this type of trains. Anubis has 3 trains, so I tried to do some maths and I got the theoretical capacity of 580 riders per hour. Fury uses 2 trains with 3 rows. Each train fits 12 people. I calculated a theoretical capacity of 480 riders per hour. So technically Anubis has a better capacity, but however, Anubis only dispatches a train when the previous train has cleared the whole layout, instead of dispatching it after the previous train hit the mid-course brake run. So I personally don't know why they don't dispatch it when the previous train hits the mid-course brake run, but when they don't do it, the theoretical capacity is just 430 riders per hour. So that means to my calculations, Fury has a better capacity than Anubis, but those are just my calculations, they could be wrong. I'm not sure of them. Well, I just tried to calculate something. Anyway, let's go to the reliability of the rides. Anubis almost never breaks down. The only time I see it close down was because it was either too hot or too cold, just because of weather. However, Fury, it had a lot of problems with the turntables in the first few weeks it opened. Because of those problems, even it couldn't operate with 2 trains the first few days, so the first opening days a lot of people want to ride it, but it only had 1 train ops, so the line was very long. I heard it was very bad, but on my visit they managed to run it with 2 trains. I think it was one of the first days it operated with 2 trains, but it actually opened 2 hours later than the park opened, so they still needed to work on it. And yeah, it still had a pretty long line because everyone wants to ride it, of course, it's brand new. But it broke down once on my visit, and I am not sure if those problems were still going on after the opening week. so I can't really tell if it's still that unreliable, so can't really tell anything up there. So now, as a conclusion, both coasters have very nice theming and they're both very enjoyable, but just because of the intensity of Anubis' launch and the top hat and the very good corkscrew, I prefer it over Fury. Fury really doesn't have that intensity. I wouldn't say it's weak, but it just doesn't have the intensity Anubis has. But Fury, still a very enjoyable coaster, very good coaster. If you ever get to ride Fury, as I said, try it out backwards. It's a lot more fun than forwards in my opinion, just because you have no idea what's about to come. It's a surprise every time and it's very fun. So that was it for this video. Let me know your thoughts about these two very fun coasters and tell me what two rides I should cover next time. Thank you all for watching, and I'll try to get a new video ready by next week. Goodbye.